Recently, I just done a DTC genetic testing and got my result. So, what is a DTC testing? It stands for Direct to Customer Genetic Testing, and there are a lot of DTC genetic testing companies around the globe. For example, in America, there are 23andMe, DNA Tribes, Home DNA, etc. And in China, there's a DNA company called 23魔方. And in these companies, a consumer can order an at-home genetic testing kit from a website and receives volumes of information pertaining to their individual genetic profile without consulting a doctor. However, many of these DTC genetic testing companies are not FDA approved, partly because the technology is so new and partly because it is marked as a personal research tool for the consumer. Here are the benefits for the DTC genetics testing. First, they have the ability to obtain personal genetic information quickly and privately without a prescription. The information can include disease predisposition and carrier status. Second, they have the ability to make lifestyle changes, such as diet and exercise, based on the testing results. Third, they have access to interesting information about ancestry. For example, they have testing that can determine the presence and percentage of ethnic, geographic, and even Neanderthal DNA. And third, the relative affordability of DTC testing compared to other forms of genetic testing. There are also downsides for the DTC genetic testing. For example, there might be an overestimation of the role genetic plays in disease. Second, it might be difficult to interpret disease risk for customers. Third, participants may feel a wide range of emotions including anger, depression, and guilt after receiving test results. Last, the government has not yet determined how to best regulate them. Many companies are reputable and offer quality services with reliable results. Other companies make false claims and use faulty practices. So it is up to customers to decide which companies are good and which companies are bad. The company that I'm using is called 23andMe. So here is my gene test result. As you can see, there are a lot of categories about the report: ancestry, carrier, genetic health risks, etc. Let's take a look at ancestry report. First, let's start the tutorial. Your DNA represents the legacy of many people. And second, your DNA is packaged into 23 chromosomes. The first 22 are inherited from all of our recent ancestors. Unfortunately, Neanderthals have already extinct, and the reason for their extinction is still a mystery. However, we can still know how many genomes of Neanderthals we have in our DNA. And this graph shows you how can your DNA pass down in different ways. And there are 4 ways shown in this graph: parental line, maternal line, Y chromosome, and mitochondrial DNA. So, the DNA is full of insights about the origins, and let's read and explore. This map shows you where my ancestors live, and I think they mainly live in the East Asian part and also Europe. I am 99.7% East Asian and Native American, and more in detail, I am 76.8% Chinese, 13.8% Mongolian, and 5.8% Korean. Also, I am 3.2% broadly East Asian. And less than 0.01% of me is from Europe. The rest of my genes are Amazon. Here, the graph shows how many generations ago was my most recent ancestor for each population. Here is a beautiful painting of my chromosome. By putting a mouse on each of the names, I can learn where these genes represent in my gene. I'm pretty surprised to know that I have Korean genes and a little bit of European genes. I live in Mongolia now, which is the border of China that sits right next to Mongol. I know that I have a great-grandma who is a Mongolian, so I'm pretty sure that I have Chinese genes and Mongolian genes. However, I didn't expect that I have a Korean gene. The test result makes me remember one time I tricked my friend. I told him that I was a Korean born in China, and I was afraid to share information to the others because I didn't want to be treated differently. He believed all of my words and I laughed at him for a long time. But right now, I can see the reason why he believed me. I have Korean blood. Now I have a question. What do these ethnic groups look like? To find out, I googled the average face of these groups. So, these are all the genotypes of these ethnic groups. Here's a picture when I was a little. Can you tell which part of me assemble these faces? Now, I have more understanding of my cultural ethnicity versus my genetic ethnicity. And I'm pretty happy to know that I've actually experienced all of these cultures in some way. These are my cousins in China. And this is my cousin and my mother. Here is a picture of me being the Indian princess in the school's culture day. This is the picture with me and my Chinese friends. This is a picture of me with my Mongolian teacher. And this is me in a Mongolian suit. And this is me when I travel with my friend in Korea. So my matrix haplogroup is M7b3. To learn more about my matrix line, I googled about the haplogroup M7b, and I found out that this group is widely distributed in mainland Asia. But its doctor clade M7b3, which is my haplogroup, is virtually absent in China, with only a variant showing the motif observed once in northwestern China. So as you can see, my gene is pretty rare in China. However, this variant is found at a wildly high frequency, about 11% in the Taiwanese Aboriginal population. There are a lot of hypotheses about why the M7b3 is so rare in China. Maybe because it occurs as a result of migration of individuals carrying a subset of the diversity found in Taiwan. Or maybe the alternative interpretation is that the increased diversity of haplogroup M7b3 in the Taiwanese Aboriginal population occurs due to the high frequency of samples without the mutation at NP16086 in a single group, possibly as a result of drift. In the summer of 1856, workers curing limestone in our valley dug up an unusual skull, a Neanderthal skull. The king was under the impression that the skulls of contemporary African and Australian Aboriginals resembled the Neanderthals more than ordinary white people's skulls. He explained that the Neanderthal skull alone was proof of this moral darkness and stupidity. We knew almost nothing about Neanderthals, but already we assumed that they were losers. But Neanderthals weren't what we imagined it to be. They were actually very similar to their contemporary Homo sapiens in Africa, in terms of standard marks of modern cognitive and behavioral capacities. We've always classified Neanderthals technically as human, and they do things human does. Neanderthals buried their dead. They made jewelry and specialized tools. They moved ochre and other pigments, perhaps to paint their face or bodies. Their anatomy suggests that they were capable of language and probably had high-pitched, raspy voices, like Julia Child. The bias with which too many scientists approach that other us, one archaeologist called these researchers modern human supremists. So for a long time, the Neanderthals are considered as stupid and scavenge. As shown in this famous movie, The Cruise. In this scene, Guy, the character that stands for Homo sapiens, teaches the Neanderthals how to set up a trap. And during the course of the movie, the Neanderthals are represented as savage, strong, and stupid. They are not able to survive under Guy's help. But in fact, they might actually be smarter than Guy. Even though they are extinct, we can't say that they are extinct because of their stupidity. The reason for their extinction is pretty complex and need a lot of research.
Looks like we won't have any leftovers.
What are leftovers?
You know, when you have so much food to eat, you have some left over.
Huh. We never have that much food.
So thank you guys for watching, and this is the end of my genetics testing report. What do you guys think?